Миссия Intel — разрабатывать технологии для воплощения самых инновационных идей. Все начинается с данных. В эпоху больших данных нашу жизнь стремительно преображают облачные сервисы, интеллектуальные сети 5G, взаимодействующие между собой устройства, расширенная аналитика и искусственный интеллект. Intel разрабатывает технологии, которые стимулируют прогресс. Для мощных облачных приложений и оконечных устройств нужны решения, способные быстрее обрабатывать, анализировать, перемещать и сохранять данные, извлекая полезные сведения для дальнейшего развития бизнеса. Мы создаем то, в чем нуждается современный мир. Решения, ускоряющие получение практически значимой информации с помощью аналитики и оптимизации вычислений в самых востребованных областях. Сложность данных растет с развитием трехмерной графики и видеоаналитики. Но наши решения для обработки, перемещения и хранения данных превращают потоки информации в конкурентное преимущество для бизнеса. Компании, использующие технологии 5G, искусственный интеллект и интернет вещей, выбирают Intel для создания надежной инфраструктуры, успешного развития и инноваций. Наши клиенты претворяют мечты в реальность, а мы поставляем решения для воплощения их замыслов. Intel. Мы приближаем будущее.
Встречайте, Lina Stukov, директор по продажам энергонезависимой памяти и систем хранения компании Intel.
Good morning, everybody. I'm super excited and really honored to be with all of you here today to share Intel data-centric vision along with our portfolio of products and services to help all of us unleash the possibilities of this data-centric world we live in. So let's begin by talking about data. Over 50% of data was collected over the last 2 years. We reached an inflection point where industries are being reinvented by the data that is collected. For example, we see Siemens changing the way they do cardiac MRI through the use of artificial intelligence. But we also need to remember that even though all of this data is being collected, the reality today is only 2% of that data has actually been analyzed. We're at a very early stage of this frontier. And this, of course, gives us a lot of hope and optimism for the untapped opportunities that still lie ahead. We see this data-centric era emerging really as a constellation of three mega trends. First, the shift to the cloud. Second, the emergence of artificial intelligence and analytics. And last, the cloudification of the network. The shift to the cloud, of course, is the most mature of the three. It has started years ago and has been proliferated by the hyperscalers. But what is really exciting for us to see now is the fact that more traditional enterprises are slowly moving into the cloud as well, whether it is a public cloud, a hybrid cloud, or a private cloud offering. AI and analytics started as the domain of the most sophisticated, data-rich companies is now reshaping entire industries. And finally, the last mega trend, the cloudification of the network and the edge. The same concepts and technologies that created the cloud is now transforming the edge and the network. And it is our opinion that as 5G emerges, we will only see the cloudification accelerate, moving compute to the edge, moving compute closer to where the data is being collected and where the data is being analyzed. And in the context of these three mega trends, we see an explosion around demand for compute. Over the last 5 years, we have seen 50% compound annual growth rate in demand for compute cycles, and we project similar growth over the next 5 years. And more interestingly, we see an explosion in the types of workloads our customers are running. From security to virtualization, to database and network, to multi-cloud and orchestration, to HPC and AI and analytics. We are seeing diversifying needs emerge as compute expands. And to that extent, Intel, over the last several years, has been extensively investing in this new approach of the underlying data-centric infrastructure. From 11 billion investments we made in our data center portfolio of products that I will talk a little bit more about later, to 12 billion in mobile and 5G, to 15 billion in memory technology with investments in NAND and Optane, and roughly 30 billion in merger and acquisitions with companies like Mobileye, Altera, and Infineon. We're architecting the future of the data center, and we're architecting the future of the edge. Earlier this year, on April 2nd, we announced a portfolio of products to help move data faster, to store more data, and process everything. To store more data, we announced investments we made in NAND and Optane, and we announced the revolutionary Optane DC persistent memory that we'll talk more about. To move the data faster, we announced growing capabilities in Ethernet and silicon photonics, and around process everything, we announced a portfolio of second-generation Xeon, as well as investments we made in accelerators such as FPGAs and AI ASIC. All underpinning the software system and solution level view. Our data-centric strategy is focused on driving platform-level innovation within the data center through the network and to the intelligent edge. So let's go back now and talk about the first mega trend I mentioned earlier, the proliferation of the cloud compute. We see several key factors driving the shift to the cloud. We continue to see a drastic growth in e-commerce, with both the move of established brick and mortars to online presence, as well as an explosion of new e-commerce sites that are taking advantage of the public cloud offerings, such as faster time to market, ease of deployment, and economy of scale. Digital advertisement continues to grow as well, fueled by the Super 7 CSPs. Digital video and streaming content is another major area of growth, with established companies like Netflix and Amazon growing their subscription services, as well as new players entering the market across the world. And of course, public cloud offerings around infrastructure, software, and databases as a service, where we see growing trend of enterprise customers moving into the public or hybrid cloud, as well as the burst of new companies that choose public cloud for ease of deployment and faster time to market and scale. Now, let's shift and talk more about the cloudification of the network and the emergence of the edge. Intel architecture has become the platform for this trend. We've been working on this for many years now. It speaks to the efficiency and cost savings in moving to this virtualized cloud-native network infrastructure on IA. We started the notion of network function virtualization 8 years ago in 2011. We started the first proof points in 2013. We open sourced the technology, DPDK, in 2017. In 2018, at Mobile World Congress, we saw AT&T announce that 65% of their network was virtualized. And earlier this year, we launched specific SKUs that are optimized for network needs. We see up to 1.76x network workload performance enhancements, gen over gen, as well as enhanced quality of service. As more data is being collected, ability to analyze that data to make intelligent decisions becomes a key. And we have been investing in this area around ability to store more data. I would like to share with you now a short video we put together to better explain this technology.
Intel's Optane DC persistent memory and storage innovations will transform big data workloads and analytics possibilities in the data center. Data will be able to be stored, moved, and processed at unprecedented speed with improved TCO. New media technology removes much of the latency associated with memory and storage based on traditional media, bringing needed data closer to the processor. As data continues to grow rapidly, the need for high-performance, high-density storage is critical. Intel's goal is to replace hard drives with fast, high-capacity NVMe SSDs, leveraging our ultra-dense QLC NAND technology. Our ultra-dense ruler SSD form factor is gaining traction with thermal, operational, and space efficiency, enabling us to pack up to 1 petabyte of storage in a single 1U box. Future designs will consist of disaggregated compute, storage, and network pools that can be dynamically provisioned on demand. Intel Optane DC persistent memory, Intel Optane DC SSDs, and QLC NAND SSDs will provide fast, high-capacity, cost-effective memory and storage. But these disaggregated pools require a next-gen network design to maximize performance, which is where NVMe over Fabric comes in. New standards and next-gen fabrics enable us to make remote NVMe storage appear to be local, speeding data to compute nodes while enabling compute and storage to scale independently. These combined innovations, fast, high-capacity persistent memory and storage traveling across high-speed NVMe over fabric links, will enable new levels of performance and reduce TCO in the data center.
We know that huge increase in data drives bigger needs for companies to drive insight from that data. Intel Optane DC persistent memory provides increased capacity and data persistency. It combines the best of both worlds, SSDs and DRAM, with near DRAM speed and the capacity and persistency of SSD. The strategic value for our enterprise customers of this new innovative memory is the larger data set you can now have closer to the CPU. The problems we hear our large enterprise customers share with us is around incredibly disruptive issues around reboot and restart times, limited analytics and insights, or smaller memory capabilities in their IT hardware. Intel Optane persistent memory was designed with those challenges in mind. It's been 10 years in the making. We now have ability to scale up to 36 terabytes of memory in an 8-socket system with 3 available capacities of 128, 256, and 512 gigabyte DIMMs. I'm holding in my hand now the largest memory capacity in a DIMM form factor, 512 gigabytes. Our customers are seeing amazing results. Redis, with 8x more virtual instances per system, while still meeting customer SLA. SAP HANA, delivering new level of record database performance with 9.1 billion records in a single database. What is also exciting here is the breakthrough price economics and associated TCO savings our customers are realizing. All this made possible by Intel innovation and incredible ecosystem support through our partnerships with ISVs like SAP and VMware and Microsoft and Oracle, a large open source community, a partnership with hardware manufacturers, as well as many others. Intel Optane DC persistent memory delivers 35% lower cost for SAP in memory database, 33% more VMs per node with VMware, up to 9x more read transactions with Cassandra, 8x faster query versus DRAM with SSD on Apache Spark, 50% more node consolidation with Microsoft SQL Server, and up to 34% lower memory cost on SaaS-based workloads. We're seeing great industry momentum with customers trying and seeing great success with this technology. From enterprise and government end users to telcos to cloud service providers, across great range of workloads, including some that we already talked about, like SAP HANA, VMware, and Redis, as well as many others like CDN, HPC, AI, and analytics. But because seeing is believing, what I would like to do now is invite my coworker on stage, Drew Peterson, to share with you an actual demo that we put together on VMware workload. Drew, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Great.
And if we can start the demo, please.
Thank you, Lina. As you mentioned in your presentation, this large, affordable, and persistent memory can really unlock the potential in database and virtualized environments. And here what we show is a live demonstration of what that can do for VMware. So you see in a traditional server, you are memory limited. You have 1.5 terabytes of virtual machines. The CPU utilization is below 25%. So you're not unlocking the full potential of your infrastructure. By enabling persistent memory in this system, we can scale this 2-socket server to 6 terabytes of memory, therefore unlocking the potential that we need for this data-centric era. As you see, we've layered on another 1.5 terabytes, another 28 virtual machines in this demonstration. Now we have almost 50% of the CPU utilized, but we still have a lot more room to grow. In the middle, you see the service level agreement, so we're being able to scale the number of virtual machines in our environment while still maintaining our service level agreement of 5 milliseconds of latency. You see now we've grown our virtualized environment to 84 virtual machines, consuming 4.5 terabytes of our 6 terabytes, but yet we still have a third of the CPU capacity to go. So this is really key to unlocking this data-centric era. We're working on more workloads, we're operating on larger data sets, and with the technology that's available with Intel Optane DC persistent memory and the 6 terabytes we can do per server, now instead of the 28 virtual machines we started with, we can deliver 112 virtual machines while still meeting our service level agreement of 5 milliseconds. So as you look at public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud, virtualization and large memory footprints are key to unlocking the potential that's necessary for this data-centric era. So thank you, Lina. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Thanks a lot. So now let's switch to talk about our crown jewel, which is the process everything category. So really building on 20 years of data center processor innovation, the second generation Intel Xeon scalable processor has over 50 standard SKUs and over a dozen custom SKUs for our customers. We're delivering 8 to 56 core count, the highest core count we ever delivered on Xeon. We're delivering 1, 2, 4, and 8 socket support for Xeon. We added deep learning boost, enabling first CPU with built-in inference acceleration for artificial intelligence workloads. We further accelerated the network application via network optimized SKUs and hardware security mitigations for side channel security attack. I would like to share with you a small sample of improvements our customers are seeing across different real life workloads, from business analytics to cloud management to network workloads and in-memory databases. We see up to 1.33x average performance improvements gen on gen. So with that, I'd like to conclude and with our data-centric investments, we see unlimited opportunities, and with your vision and our joint innovation, we know we'll be able to unleash the possibilities and the untapped opportunities together of this data-centric world we live in. С этим я хочу закончить, сказать всем большое спасибо за ваше внимание. И я надеюсь, будет возможность со всеми или со многими встретиться, познакомиться и продолжить этот разговор. Также я хочу сказать, что тут в Москве, по-моему, будет Intel Experience Day. И это 29 октября, так что мы всех приглашаем. Спасибо большое.